Okay, so good morning, everyone, and happy Thursday. Welcome to today's coordinator network call. I hope that you all are having a good week, and I know that you all are probably preparing for upcoming state exams with your students at your schools. So I hope that all of that preparation is coming well. On the next slide. Okay, so you're probably familiar with me if you've been around. I've been around a couple of months now. If you are new, I am Dr. Rollins, Dr. Tiwana Rollins. I am over cohort 1. Um, Started with this department back in early December, but been at UCF almost 7 years come May 4th. Do you all want to introduce yourselves or want me to keep going?
I'll
Okay.
introduce myself. I am Jody Bias. I am over cohort 2. So shout out if you are from a cohort 2 school. And in terms of my background, I've been with the Center for Community Schools now for 6 months or so. Prior to that, I was in K-12 education for like 15 years. I am a licensed mental health counselor, and that's really, my heart and my passion is working with students who have mental health and behavioral health challenges.
And I will introduce myself. Good morning, everyone. My name is Justine Jordan. I am the program manager for the technical assistance with the Center for Community Schools with UCF. I oversee cohort 3. I have been in my position for a little over 4 months now, but I've been with the center going on almost a year by June. So I'm excited to be here. A little bit about me for those of you who are new with us. I used to be an educator for Orange County Public Schools here in Orlando. I taught middle school and high school, and so I really put my heart and joy into what you all are doing in the schools. And I look forward to eventually meeting everyone, hopefully soon with our upcoming events. So just an FYI, our assistant director, Alexius, he is not here today, but he oversees cohort 4 and 5 as well. So I'll pass it back to Dr. Rollins.
Excellent. Okay, so today's agenda, we'll be doing CPS engagement activities throughout the day. So be prepared for that part for engagement. Wanted to discuss today that you said the application, not application, the registration opened today for the DCI event. That might be coming up next, but I just wanted to plug that while it was still in my memory. Do we have any new people new to this call? Never been on a coordinator's call before? Okay. So if you wouldn't mind sharing, you can come off mute and just say your name and where you are.
I think we are off mute right now. So Suleika.
Zuleika Rodriguez, and I do expanded learning with community partnership schools at College Park Elementary.
Okay. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Good
Hi,
morning.
good morning. My name is Kayla Slater. I am the Family and Community Engagement Coordinator here at Sable Palm Elementary, located in Tallahassee, Florida.
Okay.
Hello,
Hi,
I'm
my name
Lisa
is
Wetland.
Jaden.
Oops,
Oh,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh, sorry. My name is Jaden Session. I am the FACE coordinator at Lauren Branch Elementary in Jacksonville, Florida.
Nice to meet you.
My name is Amina Mahfood. I'm the wellness coordinator over at Moore Elementary for CPS schools for CHS.
Okay. Nice to meet you.
I am Lisa Wetland. I am the Wellness Assistant Director at Franklin Park Elementary in Fort Myers.
Okay. Nice to meet you.
Good morning. My name is Flora Sharp, and I'm the Family and Community Engagement Manager at Fort Myers Middle in Fort Myers, Florida.
Nice to meet you.
Good morning. My name is Lisette Ortiz. I am the wellness manager for Colonial Elementary School and Fort Myers Middle School in Fort Myers, Florida with United Way.
Hey, we have another Fort Myers representing. Nice to meet you.
Good morning, I'm Zenaida. I am the Family and Community Engagement Coordinator for Colonial Elementary here in Fort Myers.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Hello, I'm Santana Rugi. I am the Expanded Learning Coordinator at East Marion Elementary.
Nice meeting you.
Good morning. My name is Claudia Porlatine. I am the Expanded Learning Manager at Franklin Park Elementary here in Fort Myers.
Nice to meet you as well. All right, I
Good
believe that's.
morning. I'm the
Oh, okay,
wellness
I'm gonna go.
coordinator here in Miami.
Nice to meet you. That's my hometown. Nice to meet you.
You
Morning, Manny
too.
Diaz. Good morning, Manny Diaz, Family Engagement Senior Manager at Franklin Park Elementary.
Okay, good. Nice to meet you. Is that everyone, I believe? Okay, well, thank you all for the introductions. And we get to put names to faces. Some of the school names sounded familiar from the quarterly reports. So I appreciate meeting you all. So let's go on. Center update. So yes, so the Whova registration opened this morning, April 24th, and it'll close on May 2nd. So if you could be as prompt as you could with that, so that we can get an early count and know exactly who's going to be present. We also have, I just saw something pop up in the chat. So there's a link for the TA calendar of events. So it'll display the same way you see on the screen there with the list of upcoming events between now through the end of the school year. And we'll also have in the future, the next school year's calendar available as well. And again, the DCI Director and Coordinator Institute will be on June 13th and the registration open today through May 2nd. Okay, next slide. Okay, someone said they're not able to open the calendar. So I'll let one of my team members rectify that. So this is the advertisement for the Director and Coordinator Institute, June 12th through the 13th at the Drury Plaza Hotel in Lake Buena Vista, Florida. We look forward to seeing you all there for a supercharged event, supercharged theme. And today the registration open, so just make sure that you are proactive with registration. We would love to have feedback from you on content and content of your interests that you would like to see presented, or breakout rooms or different ideas that you would have for this upcoming event in June. We're currently cultivating ideas. We have a list of things, but we would love to get your feedback. So if there's anything that we haven't thought of that you would like to have incorporated into the event, we would love to hear from you. So go ahead and take a second to scan the QR code, and it'll take you directly to the survey where you can input any feedback that you would love to see presented. Nice to meet you, Wayne. Okay. All right, so just a couple of housekeeping rules for this event today. To try to be as engaged as possible. So we're going to have a couple of breakout sessions where we're going to discuss some pre-written questions on topics that will help us to kind of reflect on this year. Sorry, the chat is kind of distracting me a little bit. We ask that you be present. We appreciate it when you do have your cameras on. If not, we understand. But if you are able to, when you're in the breakout rooms, that's usually a good, comfortable spot to do that. Be open and be receptive. See what you can get out of today's meeting. One of the things I can say, since I've been here in the last couple months, I've noticed that everyone has a lot of either overlapping things that they're doing, or things that you might be doing somewhere that someone else could learn from or may want to incorporate. So this is a good time to kind of share those ideas with each other and learn from each other and see how you can connect with one another as well. And taking the time to be reflective on how some of the information relates back to you and some of the work that you are doing at your sites.
All righty, thank you, Dr. Rollins. Again, my name is Jody Bias, in case you missed it in the beginning. So this is just a reminder that you don't have to take notes during this conversation in case you missed the information. I mean, you can take notes, but we will be sending out an email through our MailChimp platform. And it is a recap of, it's the recording, it's the transcript, it's the links, it's a recap of everything in this meeting. So if you want to look, back on anything during the meeting, this is your way to be able to do so. The email distribution list that we have could be incomplete. There are changes in staff sometimes, and we don't always have immediate notification of that. So if you are not receiving a MailChimp that is like a review of this meeting, if you wouldn't mind sending an email, and our emails will be at the end of the slideshow, but sending one of us an email to let us know that you're not receiving it, because that means that your email is not on our email distribution list. So be watching for an email probably within the next week or so. If you don't receive it, go ahead and let us know. And as we always do at the end of our meetings, we want to have it has been requested of us for everyone that's on the call to have kind of a devoted time for you to just chat with one another, exchange ideas in kind of a free-flowing format. So we call that the coordinator power hour, even though it's not an hour-long thing. But at the end of this call, you are welcome to stay on the call. The people, my colleagues and myself from the UCF Technical Assistance team will be exiting the call so that you guys can have time to chat amongst yourself. So that will take place at the very end of the call. I will be asking for somebody at the end of the call to stay on and just, you don't have to do anything other than keep the meeting room open, since we will be exiting the call. So you don't have to facilitate discussion or anything. It just means that you have to keep the room open until everybody is done with their conversation. So I'll be asking for a volunteer at the end of the meeting for that. And I don't know if you can do a raising of your hand if you are able to join us at Day at the Capitol for our advocacy efforts. But here's some pictures from it. It was my first time doing the advocacy day at the Capitol. It was a wonderful opportunity. It was a great learning experience for myself. And we got to hear lots of wonderful things that are happening across the state, maybe from even the site that you're at. So shout out if you were able to go and advocate. If it's not something that you have done in the past, it's something that we will do again this coming year. So think about the advocacy efforts and, getting involved in that for this coming year.
All right. So today's network call, we know that everyone is closing out the school year. I remember those days of counting down. I would put it on my board and be like, 30 days till summer. And my kids knew like they wanted to change it. So we know this is probably some of the hardest months that you have for the school, a lot of pressure on the kids when it comes to testing. And so we wanted to have this end of school year with you to really be in a projection of what's to come and kind of reflecting, even though you're not at the end just yet, but just being mindful, especially in your position. So today's network call, we titled it Closing with Clarity. And we're going to talk about systems and sustainability for year-end success and what that looks like for your particular position. So if you do or do not have the chat open, I'm going to ask a question that's going to require for you to answer. So just pull it up in the meantime, and we're going to play a little game, because as a teacher, I used to love playing games with my students. So if I get to teach, that's what I'm going to do. All right, so if you have the chat open, feel free to put in the chat, true or false. Now, I want to say this before I put it out there. This is not a judgment on you. This is a safe space. Don't feel like we're judging, but it's just more of an internal reflection. So that way, because sometimes my students be like, Miss, you sound a little judgy. I'm like, no, that's not the goal. It's just to be an internal awareness. So true or false? If I won the lottery and left tomorrow, my school and team will be able to survive without me. And I mean, based on the systems, like if somebody could just pop in right in your position, would they be able to survive. So we have a lot of truths. Wow, let's go. Some false. That's okay too. I know Alexius is always asking us, if you won the lottery tomorrow, could someone take over your position with ease? And I'm just like, that's a great question. So I wanted to bring it here. So we have a lot of truths in the chat. That's awesome. All right, so I'm actually interested in the discussions that are going to happen on later on today. Some question marks. It's okay. All right, another question. True or false? Write your answer in the chat. Okay, anyone can be in my position and thrive. That's the key word, thrive, based on the systems I've created. So think about your system, and as soon as you left tomorrow, like they're gonna kill it. It's easy, it's simple. All the things are organized. We got some systematic people in here. That's awesome. True. Alexius says pending. It is pending for our TA team. False. I've just started. Love that, Jaden. That's okay. I love the truth. True. A lot of truths. Some false. That's good. That's really good. And it's just the honesty of like, can somebody just come in without your guidance as well, too? That's also a big thing when it comes down to it. Like if there's things that are very organized, this is like for my type A personalities. They love to like create systems and folders and all that good stuff. So now that you said that, I just wanted to throw in some things that I've read before. There's a book or kind of like a dissertation or scholarly journal that's called Learning to Improve and How America's Schools Get Better at Getting Better. So it emphasizes suitable change in schools that require systematic thinking, structured routines, and standardized processes. So even as a formal educator, we had to create systems of how do the kids line up, right? How do the kids enter the classroom? Like these are systems that teachers are doing all the time. We just didn't call it system. We just call it structure, right? So schools and their partners, which is what I loved about this, is that they can improve through discipline systems, right? How do we make work visible and repeatable? How do we allow for continuous learning with your students? How do you prevent reliance on individual memory? Like you got all the knowledge, but if somebody else comes in, you take all of that historical knowledge with you and nobody's left with, well, what did they do here? What did they do? Okay, so that's why today we're going to talk about that as well. So now in the chat, since a lot of people feel like they can thrive and anybody could thrive in your position, I want to ask this question before we share the answers. Why are systems important? So just write in the chat for me. It could be a very simple few words. Don't feel like you have to write a dissertation. And I'll give just a few seconds and I'll read them out loud because the recording doesn't show the chat. So structure is provided. Well, they definitely need some guidance. Structure. So these are why systems are important. Consistency. Some of y'all must have saw my PowerPoint. Making things easier, your job easier, routine, efficiency, clarity, consistency. It builds structure and reliability, available coverage. Yes. Some of y'all must have saw my PowerPoint at this point because that's literally some of them. I'm like, okay, who sent it out? Who's the little mole that came in my file and sent it out? Organization. Awesome. Okay, so systems definitely prevent burnout. Okay, that's a big thing for anybody who's starting in your position, right? When everything lives in your head or it's done on the fly, it's exhausting. So systems give you a peace of mind that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I've been in some jobs where there were no systems, right? And we had to create it as well. I'm kind of used to doing that. But even in the education world too, right? Educators are used to using their systems and it was just me and my students. When you join a team outside of the classroom, like how you all are doing it, it really is important to build out those systems because a lot of even directors and coordinators tend to get really burnt out because they're constantly reinventing the wheel. Okay, so some of y'all said it, it creates consistency, which is 1000% right. When it comes down to consistency, students and families and partners thrive when they know what to expect. So just like when my kids knew what they expect, how is it your team? Do they know what to expect when it comes down to your position and how you thrive and you're successful, right? You want to make sure they're running smoothly. Communication is very clear and experiences are repeatable. One thing I will say about communication, it's not always clear just because you say it. right? People receive information differently than it is when they communicate. I used to have to make sure, check for understanding with my students. Sometimes even within your own team, you might want to check like, hey, can I ask a follow-up question on this? Okay, another reason why systems might be important too is ensure sustainability. So that's a big key for our CPS schools, right? It's the one word that we hear over and over and over again, but even within your position, if a site ever has a staff turnover, something happens, there's an emergency, right? This helps protect the legacy of your work. It makes sure that nothing falls through the cracks and that the community is still able to get high quality support. Okay, the worst thing I think in the world is that when somebody leaves and they take everything with them. So always thinking about what can I leave behind, because you're going to continue to grow, right? And maybe this is your forever job too. That's okay too. But if it's not, you always want to think from day one. My old mentor, he used to tell me, how do you make sure somebody can succeed in your position? What can you create today that can improve their experience here? And he was always like, he didn't mind that we all left, and eventually I did too. But all right, and then the last one, and again, there's more important ones that you guys meant out. It definitely saves time, right? Investing in the time to set up or clean up systems saves hours. Whether you're reporting data, whether you're planning for the next school year, sharing out materials, organizing the systems, it really lets you know what you need and get it done faster. I'm all about the efficiency. So before I go to the next slide, what actually, no, because I want to save time for you guys to do breakout. So I'll just go into next slide. So these are some of the types of core systems to integrate if you haven't done so already. A communication system, right? How do you communicate with your families? And is it efficient? Because a lot of people think sending an email newsletter is the most efficient way to do it. And not everybody maybe doesn't have a phone or doesn't read emails. I know my phone has 20,000 emails unread, and that's my type of person. I have other family members and friends are like, it has to be 0 all the time. I'm like, no, I can't go through all that. It's a lot. So just knowing it's email blast, maybe monthly newsletters. How do you get that communication even through your team? Like, what is that? Is it just a text message? Is that sustainable? Program management systems, right? These are your pre and post surveys, enrichment calendars, sign-in sheets, right? A lot of the things that we are seeing across the schools is that a lot of things are printed, but having a digital process is so important because we can all lose paper, right? I know there's paper everywhere. It could all fly somewhere. Heard, my dog ate my paper. These things happen, right? Hopefully there's no dogs in the schools, but just never know. Maybe the bird flew in and took it. Partnership tracking systems. This is where, how do you keep track of all your partner contacts, right? What is the database and do you have that updated? That's something that we do here, the technical assistants, but it is hard to keep track sometimes when people are positioning, moving in positions within, throughout the state. Supply systems, inventory, right? How do you keep track of the supply requests, donation? We heard some amazing systems throughout the state of how people are keeping track of like their food pantry and their closets. Okay, these are systems that you want to think about. Data collection. Data is very important for reporting, right? So maybe a family engagement attendance logs, impact snapshots of templates. How do you track your students? How do you make sure maybe those early warning indicators or things that you are tracking to ensuring they are successful by the end of the school year? And then the last thing is a file organizational system, right? How do you keep track of all your files? Is it OneDrive? Is it on Teams? I've heard all these things, maybe Dropbox, sometimes even having a digital binder, flyers, templates, photos, forms, right? How do you archive your old documents that you don't need versus the current files that you do need, especially when it comes down to every school year? So these are the systems. There's so much more. And I know like Jody, she loves the systems. Like we all love our systems actually, and Dr. Rollins. And there's so much that you can do, but I really want to take it. I know everyone said, yes, someone can thrive in their position, but making sure you're taking account, even the little things that are automatic for you every single day is a systematic thing that you're doing. So you want to make sure that you're constantly thinking about, how do I create this habit into a system that anybody can then repeat? Now, obviously, if someone's in your position, they can improve it. So don't feel like it has to be done now, but this is our things as you're closing out the year. which is what leads us into our breakout discussion. So we're going to break you out into your pillars. Our TA team is going to be there just to facilitate and kind of remind you what the questions are. So the first question that I would love for you all to share out in your groups is, what are either the digital or non-digital systems that you've created to be successful in your position? So a lot of you saying there are great systems that you have and most people can thrive. If that's not the case for you, this is a great way to hear what's working across in your pillar throughout the state. And then the second question, and I'll write this or I don't know if we can write it in the chat while we're reading it and getting ready. What systems need to be improved for the next school year? Okay, this is really the meat and heart of what's working and what's not. Okay, and just kind of hearing what's working in other sites, and how do we improve that for the next school year? Because you should always be trying to improve your systems, even if they are. And I'm not saying don't break what's broken, but how do we advance and create something that works even better, that saves us way more time? Like for instance, and maybe we can think about like a future training, but there are ways that we incorporate like AI into our positions, because now it's ready available when it comes down to saving us time and being more efficient as our program manager's position. So think about those things when it comes down to what systems you create. I'm going to open the breakout rooms so that way you all can discuss. We're going to give between like 7 to 10 minutes, seeing how it is when it comes to gauging out. And then all I ask is maybe one person share out or write in the chat what was shared that maybe was surprising for you or something that you want to take back to your school as well. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then we're going to open the breakout rooms so that way you are all able to know. Let me see. So it's based on pillar. If you miss it, or if something is not working, I'll put you in there. Just give us a second to allow everybody else to do so. So I'm going to open them up now, and then you all should be able to choose the room that you want. If you need help, just let me know.
Would you mind just putting me in the face group, please?
Dolores, yes.
I was going to ask, do you mind putting me in a group as well? Because I'm so confused.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you.
What's your pillar? Is it wellness?
I'm Family and Community Engagement Coordinator.
Anyone else need help?
Me too. Family and community engagement, please.
Okay, Jennifer. Okay, and then Avy, you said family?
Yeah, I'm with Suleika. She's wellness, but we're just gonna maybe go into family and community together. Oh, extended learning. I'm sorry, I'm learning too. I'm still learning. Okay.
Anyone else need help?
Sorry, can you let me know? I was late coming, so can you let me know kind
okay.
of what's happening, and then I'll go to the group if you send me there?
Yeah, sure. We are doing breakouts based on pillars. And so we're having a conversation of what systems are working and what systems we want to improve.
Hi, what is wrong with this?
Which pillar would you like to?
It's saying that my speaker's not working.
Oh, Maria, we hear you. Donna, so which pillar? Family
In
engagement?
the face
Face?
pillar.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And Lisa, which pillar would you like to go?
Wellness, thank you.
Ray.
Could you put me back into wellness? I got kicked out.
Oh, sure. Yes. All right. Hello, hello. I don't know if you can hear me, but they are in breakout rooms. If you wanted to let me know which one, I can definitely send you there. Oh, no. Where's that? Welcome back. Anybody's old 90s R&B rap. Mace was like, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. All right, I shouldn't be singing. My students used to hate it. So let me share my screen one more time. Maybe if we can have someone from each or a pillar to share out something that they heard, learned, or what was successful and what maybe needs to be improved. You want to come over, or you could write it in the chat. I wasn't in any of the breakout rooms, so I would love to hear.
I'll do a quick shout from the face group, and anybody could chime in. Yeah. All right. So one of the big things that I heard resounding from a lot of people was mixed media. So using paper, but also using electronic, and uploading immediately, right? So whether it's on SharePoint, Google Drive, Teams, I just heard that across the board. Organizing your folders. I even heard down to the quarter. I think it's organized even if you do it by standard or by pillar, but to the quarter makes it even more organized because you know how to go back and find things. Microsoft Suite, Google Suite, Google Translate for any language barriers, Class Dojo. Typically, a lot of districts pay for something of that sort, but if you don't have Class Dojo, there's a version of it. QR codes, utilizing that to get information out and to streamline kind of access. But we can't forget on the other side of that, phone trees. Someone mentioned, hey, we still call. We get on the phone and call families. Scheduling platforms, and then lastly, cross-training of all coordinators.
That was a lot. 10 minutes. Oh my gosh. That was a lot. You were in the face. That was really good. Wow. Very, very cool. And what about expanded learning? Anyone from expanded learning want to come off mute and share out? Don't be shy.
I'll share. So my group, we talked about both digital and non-digital as far as like things that we do or things that could be done. Someone suggested, I think it was Miss Flora, she suggested how, well, things that are I said the part about things that are in your head that needs to be on paper, but I like the part where it's like, even when you create those types of systems, you still want to give okay, if not this way, then that way. So if this scenario happens, then this is how you respond to it. If this scenario happens, then this is how you respond to it. And having that like written down, something like SOP, so to speak, those types of things help with making sure processes stay consistent. I also liked how Miss Claudia brought up the importance of records management. If she was going for a day, a week, they could still just jump in. Everything's organized. And I also, as a parent, especially like to hear the part about the parental consent for images for students and making sure that's explicit, and easily accessible for her team if they needed it. So that was just a couple of things that came about in our group, but there was more, but I don't want to take up too much more time.
And wellness. Thank you for sharing, Dr. Rollins. That was awesome. Sounds like it was a great discussion as well. All right. And just last but not least, anyone from wellness wants to come off mute?
I would love to hear from, oh, perfect. I would love to hear from somebody in the group, and I took extensive notes. So if you want to look back in the chat, there's a bunch of notes in there from what we talked about. So go ahead.
Yeah, I don't mind sharing. So this is Lisette Ortiz from Colonial and Fort Myers Middle School. So I like to see that it was also a lot of mixed media. A lot of people using SharePoint and different digital systems, different referral systems. And but I liked to see that people had copies of their referrals, different paper copies and different like physical copies of things. I think I definitely want to implement that. Also having SOPs. We had one partner that had gone on maternity leave, so it was a perfect opportunity to like have those SOPs and create them, the standard operating procedures. And then I also liked there was a mention of flowcharts, which I thought was really cool. So definitely incorporating flowcharts. So if you want to add anything else, those are kind of the things I took away.
That is awesome. Thank you for sharing out. And thank you, Jody, for writing in the chat as well. Just to read it out loud for the recording, working with the provider on common language that forms are using to create language that is needed by both the school system and also the medical provider system. This is awesome too. Another thing I wanted to leave with you all too as well is that what is the onboarding of your position? Like who takes over that? Because I thought about workflow and even a timeline of the things that they should be absorbing within maybe the first month, second month, third month. What does that journey look like within the first year within your position as well? Because a lot of people think, okay, they'll be successful if they knew everything, but we forget that when we first started the position, what am I supposed to intake? I know there's a lot, but what should I do in the first month, the first week? So even having that as well lined up, like organizing a workflow or even a journey, we're even trying to do that, implement that in the TA when it comes down to how we show up and help other people with their onboarding as well. Excuse me. Thank you so much for sharing out. I hope this was insightful.
Christine, can I add real quick?
Yes.
A couple of different things. It was mentioned, I think it was Kasim from Eccleston, but he mentioned that he works with they have some forum. Kasim could probably speak to it better if you want to unmute yourself, but where he is working with the local wellness coordinators and coordinators in the schools close by to kind of talk about their systems, share systems, so that if anybody is ever out, like the school down the street knows what the wellness coordinator is doing, and also just to build systems. I loved that idea as well.
That is awesome. Thank you for sharing, Jody. It seems like I thought it was a fast time over here, but it seems like a lot was done within that small amount of window. So thank you all for sharing out. Hopefully you'll take something with you as you close out the school year. Be in that reflective state of what is working and what can we make better. So that way you're able to then advance and enhance your role as you continue to serve our community, families, and students, all with the beautiful work that you all do every single day. So let's continue on. All right. Oh, yes. All right. So Joe, do you want to take over?
Sure. I talked earlier about the coordinator power hour. I also, just as a reminder, I just put into the chat again the link for the feedback form. We really want to get your feedback about, we love that our coordinators are going to be at the director coordinator event. We look forward to seeing you, and we want to make sure not only that we have content that is, helpful to you, that's engaging, that improves your practices, but we also are going to be looking for coordinators to join in on some of our breakout rooms to maybe do some presentations. So we're also looking for volunteers. So please take the time to click on that link and fill out that form so we can engage with you on that. And then the last thing is that I need a volunteer to, just like I said, stay on the line for informal conversation time for the coordinator power hour. And all you have to do is just keep the room open until the conversation ends and then close the room. So any volunteers?
I'll volunteer for it.
I'm sorry, who can you tell us?
Sheila at Wilkinson.
Okay, I'm sorry. I couldn't see who it was on the screen. Thank you, Sheila. We appreciate that. And then the last thing before we jump off the call is that we would like for you, I know that UCF asks you to fill out a lot of surveys. So I know that nobody has time for all that, but it's short, it's sweet, and it truly does help us with what content would be helpful for you guys in the jobs that you do. Because we always want to deliver content in these calls or in the events that is helpful for you. So please scan the code, or I don't know if anybody has put it in the chat just yet, but if it will be in the chat here momentarily. Just take the 5 minutes to fill out those 2 feedback forms. So the DCI form, and then just the kind of feedback about how this call went, what you would like to see in other calls. So I will get that in the chat.
Sorry, I would have put it in, but my screen is...
That's okay. No worries. I got it. I am putting it in right now. I think I am putting it in right now. And okay, so it is in the chat now. So I'll give you a moment to click on that before we get off the call. And any closing remarks or questions before we jump off? All right, then I will leave it in the wonderful, great hands of Sheila. And we will see you on the next call. Don't hesitate to contact us if there's anything you need. And thanks for coming today, guys.